Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial on setting up your edge device with Prescient Designer using AWS Greengrass. To get started, you can go to the documentation. I've also included a link to our documentation in the description below. So some requirements, we recommend a device with half a gig of RAM or more. Today I'm working with a Raspberry Pi 3. You'll also need Docker and Greengrass environment set up on your edge device. We have included the installation instructions for both in the documentation as well. So you can follow these links to install Docker on your particular edge device and set up Greengrass environment on your edge device. So because I'm using a Raspberry Pi, I've already gone through these steps, so I won't be doing it again. So you won't have to sit through the process. And once you're done with this, you'll also need to grant Greengrass permission to run Docker commands like Docker compose, start, stop, pulling images. So to do that, you can use this command. In the documentation, we have also included a recipe file. So you can include this recipe in your component creation in Greengrass to provision edge device with Prescient Designer using AWS Greengrass. So jumping on to the Greengrass home screen, we are at core devices right now, and we only have two devices here. So I want to set up a new device, and this is my Raspberry Pi. So I'll hit set up a new device. Let's call it Raspberry Greengrass. So you can add it to a new group, or you can select an existing group. In this case, we'll just go with no groups. So AWS also provides you all the installation steps. Um, you need to configure your AWS credentials on the device as well. So you need your AWS access key and AWS secret key, and you'll provide these credentials to the edge device. Now, the main part is downloading the installer. So you can copy and paste this command on the edge device to install Greengrass on the edge device. So right now I'm logged into my Raspberry Pi and I can run these commands. This command is basically installing the Greengrass installer. Now you can run this command using Greengrass, and AWS automatically populates the device ID and the device group for you, so you don't have to manually type in everything. So we'll go back to our edge device and we'll run the Greengrass installer. All right. So once done, you should see that device pop up in this device section. Let's give it a second. All right. So this is the device that we just created, and you can go inside the device. You can see that it only has, you can see the deployments of the device. It's running AWS Greengrass CLI. Now this device is connected to the Greengrass, but it's still not available on our designer. So to do that, we'll go to components, we'll create a new component, and we can use the recipe from our documentation. So we'll just copy and paste the whole recipe into the Greengrass console. Now here, all you need to update is the default configuration. So you need to update the designer ID and also the device ID. You can get the designer ID from going to by going to your designer, hitting menu, provision as device, and this string, this unique ID is your device ID. So you can copy this and you can paste it in designer ID section. And device ID is a unique ID that you want to associate with this device. So let's call it Raspberry Pi, Raspberry 3 GT, just to be consistent. And once you are done with this recipe, you'll create a component. You will deploy this component and you will select which deployment you want to use. So we will use deployment for Raspberry Pi GG, which is Raspberry Pi Greengrass, which is what we just created, our new core device. We'll hit next. So now the device will run two components. One is the default Greengrass component, and another one is a component that we just created, which has the PDI edge. We hit next, and we deploy this to our edge device. So once the deployment is done, you can go to your core devices. So this is the device that we just set up. We can go to its deployment, and we can see the status of the deployment is complete. We can also jump on to our edge device and see if the container has been deployed. And this is our component that we just deployed from AWS Greengrass. And if we jump back to our designer, we can also see the device available for use in the designer as well. And that's it.